Hello again, I am Blunty. Quick question for you before we get running. How many of you are console gamers? How many of you are PC gamers? How many of you are like me and a happy hybrid of both, so you get the best experience no matter what game it is, where it comes out? You get a lot of choices to make. And of you who are console gamers, how many of you have upgraded to the new generation of consoles, the current generation as it is, and how many of you who have done so have experienced high frame rate gaming yet? I know my mate Ali, who streams, has her Twitch thing. I don't know if I plugged her Twitch directly on this channel before. I like to talk about her a lot. She's very, very good at Twitch streaming. You should check her out. Oh, it's Wednesday today too, so if you watch this video within the first few hours of going up, she should be streaming today as well. Hey Ali. You won't see this till later. Anyway, the point I'm trying to bring up is Ali has been a console gamer pretty much exclusively for many, many years now. And after upgrading to the new consoles, every time she plays a new game designed for the new consoles, she gushes quite a lot about 60 frames per second gameplay and how the lighting works now and everything's so pretty and it's in 4K. And I'm like, I've been telling you that for years, Ali. This is what I've been doing on PC for years now. You remember how I was talking about 60 FPS makes a massive difference, and you're like, oh no, I'm happy at 30 FPS. Well, see. Well, I just got an email today about a new product from Asus that reminded me that I intended to do a video about this a few weeks ago, but I forgot about it. But let me frame it up for you. Asus, and I'll just read off the tweet I just made about it. Asus are bringing a kind of really nice sweet spot 4K gaming monitor to market. It's part of their TUF line, not their ROG or Republic of Gamer line. The TUF line is sort of the more budget-friendly side of things. So they cut a few extra corners here and there about feature sets, whereas the ROG stuff is the full ball, all the bells and whistles, fancy as possible kind of thing, aimed at sort of the hardest of hardcore PC gamers. And what makes this particular monitor stand out is it's one of a new breed of monitor that has been specifically made to take advantage of HDMI 2.1. Now, getting a 4K monitor, pretty easy for years now. You can get them at pretty decent value these days as well. Getting a high frame rate, or high refresh rate, more appropriately, 4K monitor has become pretty easy these days too. They're getting in a reasonable price range as well for most enthusiast level gamers, at least on PC. Of the two monitors I have in front of me right now, one is a 60 Hertz one that has a better color thing. That's where I do my editing and stuff like that. And the other one is a high frame rate one capable of running up to 144 Hertz. Actually, no, I can override that to 165 Hertz. At 4K, but it only does that when I'm PC gaming because the HDMI connection on it is HDMI 2.0, which doesn't support 4K 120 Hertz like the HDMI 2.1 that is on the new consoles. And that is where the difference lies in this monitor, and that is why it's exciting, because not only does it support HDMI 2.1 so you can play your console games, or at least the games that are compatible, at 4K 120 Hertz, and it does so without any chroma subsampling, what's known as 444, without having to explain all the color science and signal dealies going with that. The 444, 40, 420, 422, all that kind of stuff, it refers to how much color information is being squirted down the cable. 444 is the best one. That's the most color information possible. That means you're not going to get any what they call chroma subsampling, or kind of faking certain hues and colors and stuff like that. It's not really worth explaining. It would take an entire video to explain it properly. Just take it on face value, just like 60 FPS is better than 30 FPS, pretty much all of the time. 444 is better than 420 or 422. It also has G-Sync and FreeSync Premium and variable overdrive, so the whole thing can, you know, avoid sort of tearing and things like that, and sort of get you a really rock solid picture without any wibbliness or oddness or weird, you know, color compression artifacts and things like that at 4K, 120 Hertz at HDMI 2.1, which means you can use it with the consoles, and it's all very, very exciting because it comes in at under 1,000 Aussie dollary dues. That's around about that much. I don't know with the American price, but that's converting directly to the Australian price. So it's probably cheaper than that in the American because we get extra taxes and stuff put on top of it that you may or may not have to pay. Either way, extremely good value proposition for a high-end gaming monitor, high refresh rate, 4K with HDMI 2.1. Which brings us to the thing I actually wanted to talk about in the video. And yes, if you're a Sony fan, you're gonna get all pissy at me again because I'm gonna, well, throw some shade on Sony because they're really lagging a long way behind Xbox when it comes to supporting this feature of 4K 120 Hz gaming. So I pulled up a Eurogamer article that was published quite recently, actually, like last week or something, I think. Very convenient for this video, about the currently known games that are going to have, or are confirmed to have, or already have 120 frames per second support on the consoles. And the list for the PlayStation one is quite a lot shorter than the Xbox One. Let's run through it real quick for you here and sort of have a talk about whether or not 120 FPS even matters for the game, because it doesn't always. Quite a lot, even on PC, I will choose to lock a game at 60 for a more stable experience when higher frame rates just don't matter. There are certain types of games where it just doesn't matter. You feel the difference, but it doesn't make any real difference to the game. There are other games that make huge differences when you can run them at very high frame rates. So let's have a look. List of 120 FPS PS5 games known. Apex Legends TBC, to be confirmed. That will matter. It's a shooter. Higher frame rate means better accuracy, faster response, all that sort of stuff that NVIDIA have been pushing for years now in their latest advertising campaigns. Frames win games, I think, is one of their catchphrases. Borderlands 3, another first-person shooter, absolutely feels so much nicer when you can play it at very high frame rates. Call of Duty, Black Ops Cold War, Call of Duty Warzone, Destiny 2, all fall under that first-person shooter category where high frame rates is almost always way more desirable than anything else. Then we get to Devil May Cry 5 Special Edition. I don't know whether high frame rate's going to matter too much in that style of game. Dirt 5, a racing game. High frame rates matter. Doom Eternal. The original, well, not the original, but the modern remake of Doom is the game I would always go to when testing high frame rate monitors or video cards capable of pushing at high frame rates, because that game feels beautiful at extremely high frame rates. Like, well into the triple digits, and it just flows because everything in the game is about split-second timing and whooshing through the environment and yeah, it matters there. Fortnite doesn't really matter too much there, just because of the style of game that Fortnite is. It's a bit dumbed down. Monster Boy and the Cursed Kingdom platformer, doesn't matter. Looks nicer, feels nicer, but doesn't actually make a big difference to the gameplay, frankly. The Neo Connection, Rainbow Six Siege, yeah, it matters. Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 and 2, doesn't matter. And WRC World Rally Championship 9 matters. So racing game, first-person shooter games and stuff like that, all extremely important. Everything else under that is sort of a case-by-case basis, depending on the game. Some third-person games benefit quite a lot from it, some don't. But in general, the games that do support it on PS5 are quite deserving and beneficial from it. Now then, of those, how many do we count there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 games for the PS5 that support 120 FPS. Let me read you the Xbox Series X games that support 120 frames per second. And I'm not going to go one by one on these ones, so Apex Legends, Battle Chasers Nightwall, Battlefield 1, Battlefield 4, Battlefield 5, Battlefield Hardline, Borderlands 3, Call of Duty Warzone, Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War, Crosscode, Destiny 2, Devil May Cry 5 Special Edition, Dirt 4, Dirt 5, Don't Starve Giant Edition, Doom Eternal, XO Mecha, Fortnite, Gears 5, Golf with Friends, Halo Infinite, Halo Spartan Assault, Halo the Master Chief Collection, Hollow Knight Void Edition, Void Heart Edition I should say, Hyperscape, Island Savior, Judge, King Oddball, Lego, Marvel, Superheroes Lego, Marvel's Avengers, Lego The Hobbit, Mad Max, Mass Effect Legendary Edition, Metal Hellsinger, Metro 2033 Redux, Metro Last Light Redux, Minecraft Dungeons, Mirror's Edge Catalyst, Monster Boy and the Cursed Kingdom, Moving Out, My Friend Pedro, New Super Lucky's Tale, Ori and Will of the Wisp, Orphan of the Machine, Overcooked 2, Paladins, Plants vs. Zombie Battle for the Neighborville, Plants vs. Zombies Garden Warfare, Plants vs. Zombies Garden Warfare 2, Power Rangers Battle of the Grid, Rainbow Six Siege, Overwatch Realm, Royale, Rocket League, Rogue Company, Samurai Showdown, Sea of Thieves 2nd Edition, Smite, Star Wars Squadrons, Star Wars Battlefront 2, Super Lucky Style, Super Hot Mind Control Deluxe, The Falconeer, The Gardens Between, The Lego Movie Game, The Tourist, Titanfall 2, Totally Reliable Delivery Service, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 and 2, Unravel 2, Unreally Heroes, Untitled Goose Game, and WRC 9. So, who's doing it better? No competition. Not all of the games really benefit from 120 FPS support. Some of them do, some of them just feel or look nicer. Some of them very much benefit gameplay-wise from that. But it's safe to say Xbox, Microsoft in general, are caring a lot more about actually supporting this feature with a forward-looking focus on it and backwards-looking focus on it, because a lot of those are backwards compatibility games that have been updated to support this sort of stuff. We already know there is even more coming. They've talked about it quite frequently. When they can support 120 FPS, they'll just let the game run at 120 FPS without sort of capping it off. And if you're wondering why 120 frames per second? Isn't 144 kind of the standard refresh rate for these high refresh rates stuff on PC gaming? And it's true, most high refresh rate monitors are 144 hertz or 165 hertz, or we're getting up to the 320 odds now. But the reason consoles are targeting 120 hertz refresh rate, 120 FPS per second, is because, well, it's 2 times 60 and 4 times 30. So when they do come, update older titles to run, or it's just doubling the frame rate or quadrupling the frame rate. It makes it very easy math. And if you've got a game that, some games tie their physics engines to their frame rate. So if you just double it or quadruple it, you can account for that in the game engine quite a lot easier than having a runaway frame rate at other places. So back to the questions I asked at the beginning. Are you a console gamer? Have you experienced high frame rate games before, either on PC, or have you invested in HDMI 2.1 TV yet? What are your opinions on it? Are you looking forward to it? Do you think it matters? Are you like my friend Ali, who has been gobsmacked by spending most of her gaming life stuck at 30 FPS and suddenly experienced 60 FPS and catching up to where gamers were 5 years ago and going, oh, now I understand what you were talking about. It does actually make a huge freaking difference, and it makes it feel so much nicer to play Dark Souls or whatever it is she plays at 60 FPS instead. And like 1440p to 4K, the jump between 60 and 120 or 144 doesn't feel as big. You certainly can feel it. You feel it more than you see it usually. Some people can see the difference. They can just look at gameplay and go, oh, that's greater than 60 FPS. Me, I don't see it that easily. I certainly feel it though. You can feel it in the way the game moves. You can feel it in the responsiveness. And that is why I like the high frame rate gaming, because it just feels flowier. Even if I can't tell at a glance without sort of slowing the footage down, well, is it actually 60? Is it 75? Is it more? I can certainly feel it. So I've asked your opinion a couple of times. Hopefully you've given it so far. I'm interested to know because, well, I do have a contact at Asus, and I think I might want to reach out and see if I can get a review sample of this new monitor, because it does represent a really nice sweet spot. It's not hyper expensive, but it does support all the fancy features. It, brings it under that, quadruple digit price point for enthusiasts. They might be able to justify it for themselves. It ticks off a lot of the boxes you want in a gaming monitor. I'm excited to see it and see it reviewed, because its precursor was reviewed extremely well. So we'll see. Thanks for watching. I am Blunty, and we'll catch you next time. You've enjoyed this video at 30 FPS, because I think that's what I'm recording it at. Yes. Thanks to the patrons, of course.